Week 10 of college football has come and gone. The college football playoff rankings are coming out on Tuesday night. Listen, we don't need to wait for that. We can tell you what they are right now, or give you an accurate assessment at least of what this top six is going to look like, because that's what we're looking at. First two out, top four as it stands right now. A lot of madness that ensued. Alabama lost. Clemson lost. You had TCU continue to win. Regardless of all that, let's get to the magic. This top six. Roll, party, roll. Number 6, a new team. The top 6 countdown. The LSU Tigers. They beat Alabama yesterday 32-31 in overtime kind of fashion. I don't know if we're paying enough attention to the Tigers. They got 2 top 10 wins. Control their own destiny in the SEC. If they win out and win the SEC title, we have never had a 2-loss team make the college football playoff, but I think LSU would have a pretty strong case in terms of how they finished the year. Because remember, one of those losses came at the beginning of the year, first game. The other loss came to a really good Tennessee team. If they win out and they win the SEC, it at least gets to a conversation. And that's what this whole thing is about, because human beings are the ones making the decisions. If you can get it to a conversation, things could get interesting for the Tigers. Nonetheless, they're at number 6 for us this week. And number 5, the Tennessee Volunteers. Now, they lost to Georgia, so that hurts them in terms of their SEC title hopes. But there was enough chaos that went on where I think you still like their resume a good amount. They have 5 ranked wins. And if their only loss on the year is to what will eventually be, no spoiler alert, but the number 1 ranked team in the country, in the Georgia Bulldogs, I think you feel okay about that. So you got some help yesterday. It's scary for everybody else if they make the college football playoff. Like we said, Clemson lost, so you would think that their odds are, 2 things, both slim and none, so we'll leave it at that. And then Bama lost, so they're a 2-loss team. We just talked about LSU as a 2-loss team, but for Tennessee, if they get in the dance, things could get interesting. But like I said, if they win out and they're a 1-loss SEC team, that would be, I guess, in theory, 3rd place. We'll see. I'll leave it at that. We'll see. Quick note before we get into this top 4. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, we'd love to have you along for the ride. We operate as a for the people, by the people kind of channel. So when you join the party, it gives us a better gauge for what you want to see and what you want to do here. All right? I'll leave it at that. The top 4 for us is as follows. At number 4, we got the TCU Horned Frogs. They were number 7 this previous week, according to the college football playoff rankings. Like we said, they got some madness. Alabama lost. You had Clemson lose. I think you had Tennessee lose. I think there is no debate. They should be the number 4 ranked team in the country. Now, I want to make this very clear. If they win out, if they win the Big 12 as an undefeated conference champion, I do not care who else is up for a different spot. You better look elsewhere, because TCU will be locked in as a college football playoff team. Whether they're 4, whether they're 3, 2, 1, doesn't matter. They're undefeated. They're getting in the dance, all right? So, got a win yesterday against Texas Tech. They've had 3 ranked wins so far. Got College Game Day this coming Saturday against a ranked Texas team at Texas. So you have Texas, you have at Baylor, and you have Iowa State in the Big 12 title. That's the gauntlet for them. Very, very intrigued to watch that Texas game. Because again, it's in Austin. We're going to break it down, preview, and predict it on this channel. But for us this week, TCU is number 4. And if they keep winning, they're not going to drop. Number 3, we got Michigan. Handled business against Rutgers. It was sort of a play with your food situation in the first half. Final score ended up being 52-17. As of right now, they have 1 ranked win. It's Penn State. The script reads the same as it always did. Get to Columbus undefeated, play Ohio State, you win that game, you get to the Big Ten title, you win that one. You kind of know what I'm saying here. But the crash course, the first thing that's on the horizon for a Michigan fan, now there's other games that are on the schedule, but that Ohio State game, as it always is circled, underlined, starred, huge playoff implications in that game. The script reads the same. Now some teams lost, so we moved them up in the rankings. They were number 5 last week for the committee. We had them at 4 last week, so they're only up a spot for us. They're up for 2 likely in the committee, but number 3 for us this week on the countdown. Michigan's controlling their own destiny. Needless to say. At number 2, you got Ohio State. Now, Ohio State is 21-7 yesterday against Northwestern. They won that game, 21-7. In some bad weather, they got 2 ranked wins right now. What we just said about Michigan is the same. Michigan is the mission for them. Like, they're going to play Michigan in Columbus. Winner of that game likely controls their own destiny if they're undefeated to get to the college football playoff. Not likely. They do. An undefeated Big Ten champ's not getting left out. So the course for them is, can you just walk this tightrope to get to that game undefeated? And the tightrope is probably the wrong word to use. It's a, fairly walkable path. The game at Maryland is the one that we're watching really closely. I'm not picking them to lose that game. I'm not saying they're on upset alert. I'm just saying that'll probably be their best test before they play Michigan in Columbus. So Ohio State's for us number 2 this week on our college football playoff rankings. At number 1, no surprise, we previewed it a little bit earlier in this segment, but the Georgia Bulldogs, a decisive win against Tennessee yesterday, 27-13. They got 2 ranked wins right now, counting that one. That win against Oregon just keeps looking better and better as the Ducks continue to climb. What they have left is at Mississippi State, at Kentucky. They got Georgia Tech in a rivalry game. They got the SEC title game likely if all that continues to play out the way we expect it to play out. They're the top dog right now. And there's no dispute around that. They are the best team in the country. They made a statement yesterday in Athens, played a very complete game. Stetson Bennett is no longer the Achilles heel or the weak link. They have won some games now because of what Stetson Bennett brings to the table. Coming into the game yesterday, they were averaging 37 pass attempts. They're a pass-first offense. Crazy to say, but that's what they've been over the course of the year if we're looking at the numbers. So for Georgia, the path remains the same. Just continue to win. Win the SEC, you're going to have the top you're have the top seed if you're undefeated. If they don't win the SEC, this is a big if, but let's just play this out. Let's say they get to Atlanta, they lose that game, they have 1 loss. I still think there's a case to be made for them, especially with the chaos that went on. We're going to see how the rest of the season plays out, but I think you still feel reasonably optimistic about your odds to make the college football playoff, even if you drop that SEC title game. But of course, Georgia fans, it's not on your radar. The expectation is you run the table, you're undefeated, you're number 1 seed, all right? So to recap, our top 6. At number 6, we got LSU. Number 5, we got Tennessee. Even after the loss to Georgia, still think they're one of the top teams in the country. Keep an eye on them. If they find a way into the dance, it will be dangerous. At number 4, we got TCU. Beat Texas Tech yesterday. Huge matchup this coming Saturday at Texas. Should learn a lot about them. But if they're undefeated as a Power 5 conference champion, they are not getting left out. At number 3, we got Michigan. Number 2, we got Ohio State. Now for Michigan, that game against Illinois lost a little bit of its shine. We'll see what their ranking is today in terms of Illinois after losing to Michigan State, and that game was on Michigan's schedule as potentially another ranked win. Nonetheless, they're at 3. Ohio State's at 2. Georgia, the number 1 ranked team in the country. That's how we see it. We expect no difference when those rankings come out on Tuesday in terms of that number 1 spot. All right? Worth noting, when the rankings do drop from the committee, come join us right here. We got your instant reaction, analysis, all that. It'll be a real good time, so make sure you're subscribed and come and join us for that party when it gets rolling. All right? So, with that being said, we're going to keep the party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.